Hello and welcome to my very scuffed slash jump tutorial. This is going to be a video showcasing a bunch of speedrun strats that myself and many other people have found. The strats in this video will be most of the ones used in my 206 video, which is currently third place on the leaderboard, and then I'll also provide some easier alternatives if you're just getting into the game. I'm going to try and be as detailed as possible in my descriptions, analysis and showcasing the tech and everything, so it should be an everything guide to this game. So first of all, I'm going to say set your FPS to around 60. Now the reason we do this is your slash intensity is FPS dependent, so if you can see how high I'm going here compared to how low I'm going here, it's a very small difference, but it matters a lot for certain strats and text in some rooms, etc. So I'd say try not to play with your FPS too much, just find something consistent that works for you. Secondly, we've got two different types of slashes. We've got a small slash here, and we've got a big slash. So our big slash is our main one, and it makes us go faster. Big slashes are basically everything we use in the game. We might use maybe one small slash. I will mention that if you're using controller, this game is very buggy with mouse, so you can see sometimes if I slash, you'll see it randomly jolts over there even if I don't click anything, just like that. It's the mouse breaking your game. It does it. It's very annoying. There's no way to stop it, unfortunately. I'm going to go over some tech. So first of all, the quick retry button. It's my menu button. You can see me pressing it and I'm dying. If you mess up in the room, there's some times where you want to use it to die quicker, some respawn, death warps, something like that. Know where it is, use it, get used to it, it will save a little bit of time. I'll turn my mouse off, see if that helps. So yeah, using that to respawn quick is great, use it. And then we've got, not really a tech, but something very important to know, is if I slash directly downwards now, if the game will let me, you can see my slash starts in the floor. Now this means we get a lot less height than if we were to slash while already in the air and falling. You can see how much height I'm getting now compared to here. So it will be used all over the run, and I wish this mouse would fix itself so I can just play the game. That's all I want, please. Okay, we'll try that. And then we've got a tech related to death warps called Vigo warps. So what this is where if I was to go through this transition and spam retry, you can see I have to wait for the transition before I can actually respawn, whereas if I was to go through the transition, pause immediately and then respawn, I can respawn without having to wait for the trigger. This can save very little time in a couple of places. I'll get to it when we get there, but good to know. And we also have something called air slashes, where you slash into a wall, so you can see I slashed into the wall, and then I slash downwards or away, and this will basically give us another slash on thin air, sort of like Mirror's Edge, if you've ever played that game, seen that game, with wall kicks. And then lastly we have ceiling rides, which is just slashing multiple times on the ceiling, which gives us a lot of horizontal momentum like that. So I will restart the game and showcase what I do. So I do two quick horizontal slashes here to get onto this platform, and then a big slash to get onto this one. One more horizontal to get to the edge of this platform, to a down slash, then horizontal, and then we're going to go straight to down quickly, and then another down following that, and then if you land on the left here, horizontal. If you're landing close to the right, do a bit more going into the air to exit. So that should look something like this when all tied together. Okay, and then we're going to do another horizontal dash, and then while in the air, we're going to slash down, because this can be very annoying to get up to sometimes when you're coming in at like an angle like this. You can very easily get caught on this edge and not be able to slash, and then if you do slash, go into the spikes. So we'll try and come in with a bit of height to easily make it onto a platform, and then it's just a series of horizontal slashes from here, and then get into this room. Once again, we'll do a horizontal slash to get here, and then it's about 5 or 4 here, and then slowly ascend our horizontal going here, and then we'll do one more horizontal, and then try and clip the edge of this wall here with another horizontal dash, just for that little bit extra speed. 2, and then this is the first room we're going to use a Vigo warp in. So as mentioned before, we want to exit the room, pause, and immediately respawn just like this to get down here. So this saves a little bit of time compared to having to come through the room normally, which would be something like this. You do have to be very quick with your Vigo warps, and if you respawn around here where your character's off the screen but you're not, and you respawn, you'll enter the next room, wait for the transition, and then die, as if we were just spamming retry on transition, so it loses a lot of time if you do that. So be very careful with your Vigo warps. They can save, they can lose 0.5 very easily and save, you know, about 0.3 on average. So once we respawn, we'll spawn just here. We're going to do one left slash, which will take us to about here, and then we're going to be using a ceiling ride going into the next room. So we'll do one slash to get over the spikes, and use the spikes to give us a ceiling warp, ceiling ride going into this room. So you use the spikes, mash left, and usually we'll get a horizontal slash off of this stone platform here. Alternatively, it's a couple horizontal slashes, a down slash, another down slash, a horizontal, and another horizontal to exit the room. That's what most people do, whereas I find the ceiling ride very easy, but you've got to be quite horizontal. If you're either too low or too high, it can mess up. A couple more horizontal slashes to get out of this room. You can fit, you know, you want to fit as many as you can, 2 here, 1 here, etc. And then we're gonna, I like to just mash jump, or mash slash up here and start turning to go left, so we can get as far right on here as possible. And I do an air slash off of this hanging, you know, sort of tile here. So we get up, usually a bit more to the right here, air slash, and then it's just easy to exit the room. Alternatively, you can just do the, you know, quote-unquote normal strat, if I can get back. The normal strat would just be let yourself drop and just go like normal. And then going into this room, it's quite difficult, this room. So you come in with a bit of height already, and then I do a ceiling ride into an air slash to get up, and then you can sort of do a double slash like that to get over. Alternatively, you can ignore the air slash and just go here. Getting into this corner is great. You can do 2 down left slashes very easily to get over. Alternatively, if you find yourself on this platform, you can do a double slash and make it over quite easily. Or you can do a horizontal left and then down to make it up a bit faster. Then it's a few more horizontal slashes out of this room, and we start this room with a ceiling ride, so we can slash down, get that downwards vertical movement going into this room. Alternatively, you can slash down here, but you have to be quite precise here, because if you slash down and sort of to the left a little bit, you're not going to be able to hit the spike pillar. So you've got to do it quite straight. And then as we fall, when we're in about the middle of this spike pillar, just slash back and forth, and then off of this little piece of floor here, downwards, and just exit the room quite easily. Be careful you don't hit these gomes and make yourself explode. Or you could do a bit of a ceiling ride off the bottom of this going up. It's a bit more difficult, but it flows a bit more, and as you're keeping more horizontal slashes, you're going faster. That's usually the benefit of ceiling rides. We'll usually end up around here, exiting the room, so we can either enter with a ceiling ride, air slash, and then hit the spikes on the left here, and then do another ceiling ride off of the ceiling, into another air slash, and then go up out of the room. That's one way of doing this room. It's quite a difficult strat. Alternatively, you can slash off the spikes, these ones, and then do the signature ride instead of having to do this precise air slash entering. I did not mean to exit the room there. And then lastly, you can just do the room quote unquote normally, get to about here, do quite a big, you want quite a lot of height here, and then double slash off the gome, and you'll make it up here very easily. And that's a couple different strats for this room. Here, you can either death warp to get here straight away, and then just do the room, like normal. Or do what I do. I like to just come in like this, and I think the only person I know that does this room this way, but I ceiling ride and then air slash coming out of here, whereas most people will just do something like that to exit. And this room's a very difficult room because we want to skip the right side of this room entirely. So you'll usually come up, you want to get yourself in, like, you want to bump your head into this wall, and we're going to do an air slash under this overhang, and then down right so we can get on top of this here. We're then going to just exit the room like that. That skips having to come over like this, but this air slash is very precise because not only do you have to be quite close to the wall, you have to get over the overhang enough distance to get on here. Not, you don't want to bonk this platform on your left, so there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but it saves a decent amount of time. Entering this room will respawn immediately, and then we're just going to do a couple of horizontal slashes. Then entering this room, we'll actually want to do a Vigo warp, so we enter the room, pause, respawn, or you can just respawn like normal. This gives us a perfect position to just do a left slash and then slash off of the spike pillar, if I can do it right. You need a little bit of height here to do this strat, and usually you won't die because the spike pillar hitbox is quite small. Alternatively, a strat I found quite useful when starting was do a small slash and then slash off of the wall here, and then you can always do a couple more slashes because this is you can go through this platform from the bottom. You can just do a bunch of slashes and you'll never sort of die here. We do a couple horizontal dashes into this room, and then we've got two choices. We can either go up, which is the easy strat, or we can go through here. Now this is very precise to go through, and it needs a quite precise angle so you land on the spikes properly, and you do a bit of a ceiling ride to go through there. It's quite a difficult strat. It doesn't actually save that much compared to just going over with good movement. I think it's like 0.5 at best, like on average, whatever. It's a very high level strat. I would recommend it. You have to be quite quick with when you line up your angle, because if you take your time, it's just the time you're wasting. A few horizontal slashes out, and we're going to point our sword kind of downwards when exiting these, because when moving downwards we want our horizontal position to be, you know, close to the floor. We've got to delay our dashes and lose a little bit of time, so we'll point it down a little bit, jump over this gap in one, and then what I like to do, instead of just another normal horizontal, I'll do a bit more height here, so we can get max height onto this platform. We don't make it on the platform, but we can then slash through the platform because of the hitbox. So we want as much height as possible. And then we enter with a ceiling ride, and then down like diagonal to get that horizontal distance downwards. A couple of horizontal dashes, and then here there's another different strat. So we can either go the normal route and just go around the right side, or we can jump off of here, do an air slash and get straight up. There I did two because I messed up. So we'll do it again, and I messed up. This strat's very difficult, probably one of the hardest strats in the game. But you would ideally, you have a bit of height here, you have a good angle getting through, and then you like air slash up. Keep messing up. A couple different variations. You can air slash like that to get through the little, you know, cubby, I guess. But yeah, a few different ways. I just go around the long way. It doesn't lose much time, and it's very easy. And then here there's a couple different variations. I like to just do this ceiling ride strat because I usually hit this twice by accident. So I hit it twice, hit that wall twice, and then ceiling ride. Whereas what you're meant to do is, you know, something to this, you just hit it once. So I hit it twice, but I opt for the ceiling ride anyway because I find it easier. And then we just want to get up here as quick as possible, and then just a couple normal slashes. And then here, we've got the hardest room in the game, without a doubt. So you want to just do two air slashes, sorry I did three. Two air slashes, one to get around the overhang, and then because we don't have enough height we need to do another one off this little wall I'm standing on to get over. Alternatively you can just do the quote unquote casual strat, wait for the cannonball, you know, etc. But yeah, two air slashes, and then if you get a lot of height on this second air slash, instead of getting like going to the right, you can ceiling ride as a last resort to get over to the right. Just depends. You need to just react a little bit. If you had a, you know, bad air slash here, you know, like there, I couldn't make it to the wall. So yeah, it's just react a little bit, do what you can. But yeah, this room's very difficult. Trying to get over here. And then the next room's not much better. So a couple horizontals just get into this room, and then I like to have quite a lot of height coming into this spike, because we're doing another air slash, and I like as much height as possible, because if you're quite low here, you can't hit the bottom of this wall very well. So you're quite low. I can barely hit the wall. Whereas if you're quite high, it makes the air slash much easier. I aim for the left side of this wall just because then I don't have to wait as long to do my second slash with the air slash. makes it slightly easier getting around it, whereas if I was here, if I was like here, I'd just bonk my head. So aim for the left side makes that a bit easier. And then ideally you'd have a really good second, you'd have a really good, well, you get up here and then you'd have a straight down slash so you can hit the right side of the bubble and get up the wall that way. Alternatively go into the bubble and just do a couple slashes off over here. There are a few different ways you can do them. You can just do it, normally, and then right side of the bubble. You can skip that right platform entirely. It doesn't save any time, I don't think, but it's just a different way. So yeah, a few different ways you can do this room. It's just a few slashes, pretty simple to get up. A few horizontal dashes to get into this room here, and then this second go hit is quite difficult because you want a lot of height, because if you get like stuck on this corner here, you'll find it quite difficult to slash the ground, or you can just miss this wall entirely. So I tend to go a bit safer on this second slash here. I do a different strat to most here. So I do a horizontal slash and then another one on the swipe pillar, whereas normally you would just hit down, wait, or hit down, hit up to go down, something like that. But I do a horizontal and then air slash from up to left, which will get me out of the room, rather than having to hit these spikes at the bottom. And then this next run is pretty easy, probably the easiest speedrun strat there is. You just send it, so one horizontal, two horizontal, and then the cannonball just lines up like 100% of the time. You might need to delay your slash very, very slightly, because there you can go too early, and then on death you need to delay it a bit more as well. There's a much harder strat in this one, ceiling ride up. Ceiling into wall ride up there, and then you can also, if you get a lot of height here, ceiling ride on that ceiling there, which is also quite difficult, skipping the cannonball. And as you're gated by height, this strat's technically faster, but the cannonball strat's very easy. There's no reason to just ignore it forever. In this room we've got another air slash, so we'll do one horizontal, get as much height from the bubble, then hit left on the wall, down right to get up here. As we do have a platform you can go through, a one-way platform, you can air slash and then keep spamming right slash, and you should make it up because your slash hitbox is quite big. So you can always slash to the right if needed. I can showcase that. Because the slash hitbox is quite big, it makes it much easier. Now I'm messing up. Makes it quite easy to get up here. And then we're going to make sure we enter this next room on the right side. So we're going to do either like a horizontal slash, and then we want to make sure we hit right down here, so we enter on the right side, because if we enter on the right side we can respawn and we'll skip this entire room, whereas if we enter on the left side and respawn, we spawn down here. And then if we do mess this room up, if we even mess up, starting on the left side, and you realise that, you can come to this corner, and there's quite a precise but consistent method where if you just spam sort of like downright niche, you'll make it up just like that. It could be a potential save if needed, but this room's very easy as long as you make sure you enter on the right side, and you shouldn't mess it up. This room, I do 2 slashes each time coming up this left wall here. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1. Just for that extra height. It feels nice for me. It's quite easy. Otherwise you've got to go back and forth, and you'll start losing height. And then these bubbles, just make sure you slash as soon as you get in, so you're much quicker. And you can skip the third one here. So if you go quite precise angle, you can skip the third one. It saves like 0.2. It's not that useful. I don't go for it. And then we'll just horizontal out of the room, and then we're also doing a Vigo warp here, so we want to exit the room, respawn as quick as possible that way, just because we spawn so far into the room, it's worth it. And then this is the strat I like to do. There's quite a lot to unpack, so 1, 2, you know, 1 slash, second slash, and then straight off the Vigome. And then I see a lot of people do this. It's like the normal strat, you could say. I'm not very good at this strat, but it's like this. But instead I cut the slash on this left wall, go up, and then ceiling ride over. And that's also because I tend to double slash this Gome a lot. So if there's no Gome, I can't make it across here unless I ceiling ride. So I just ceiling ride, it makes it work for me. And I make sure to do a down, like get as much downwards verticality momentum from this ceiling pit here. And then just exit the room. And then we're gonna bonk this wall. Bonking this wall gives us the perfect distance from this Gome here. We'll never die to it. And then you can also do an upward slash, save a tiny bit of time. And then we're slashing basically the peak of this here to perfectly get up to this next one. And then we're dropping as far down as possible to then go under this platform here. And then we're going to do a right slash to hit that left wall, and then I do 2 or 3 slashes off this wall to get enough distance to the final one. Otherwise we've got to go all the way over and do something like that. So this strat does take a lot of time, but it's quite difficult. But yeah, 2 or 3 slashes off that left wall gives you like the perfect distance to get out of the room. Then here is another easy strat, so we're just going to get, you know, do quite a big slash here, get a lot of height, and then slash to the right. I let myself hit this wall quite often, and then wait to slash, because if you do the slash too quick, you can actually air slash off of the gun and hit it twice, and it will come back up. So I tend to wait to hit so that doesn't happen to me. And then it's pretty simple to exit. I do 2 slashes off of this one here just for the extra height, but you can instead do 2 slashes off of this wall instead, out of the room, just whatever is more comfortable for you. And as you can see, that's the verticality of air slashes. I was going to fall there, but I recovered it pretty easily. And then just a couple horizontal slashes out of this room. I tend to try and go for a ceiling ride and air slash here, just to exit the room. There's no real reason to. It's just what I've gotten comfortable with, and it's just as easy to just exit the room normally. And then here, I opt to go into this bubble a lot of the time, because you can skip it, you can go through this little gap here, but to me it makes the end of the room less consistent, whereas if I just do 2 slashes each time, I'm always at the same height for this strat, which is a very difficult strat. You need as much height as possible. And you need to hit, like, as your slash hitbox is bigger than the Gome, you need to hit the Gome where it won't hit you, and then do I do 2 slashes off the spikes just for the distance, and then a safety slash off the game as well, just so I know I make this. I tend to exit the room on the left side, coming out here, 2 slashes on each side, once again just for the extra height, which will usually end me here, a bit sort of down right, try and get 1 slash off the mossy platform, 1 slash here, and then just a couple horizontals to exit. And then on the right side, where there's those little like stepping stones, try and get an extra hit off there, just to get to the cutscene as quick as possible, and that should bring you to the end of the game here. So as you can see, that was a 25-minute run, which isn't that good, so I'm just going to do a quick test run showing the strats that we've done today, just so you've got an idea. Horizontals, as many horizontals as possible here, Vigo warp, the ceiling ride, a few more horizontals, go for the air slash here. I messed up a bit there, but it's fine, we've got a good backup. I'm a coward and I do the top rail. Ooh. Messed up there. Ooh, messed up. But yeah, as many horizontals as possible. Ceiling ride. I messed up my slash diamond there. Scuffed, but quite good. Very consistent. Make sure to enter on the right side of the room. Final Vigo wall. There's the double slash I was mentioning with the game there. Hit the wall so you don't actually trigger the game to kill me. Ooh, I didn't enter the bubble here, so it's some good stuff. Made it. And 222, as you can see there. A little bit of a showcase. I mean, hopefully it was coherent enough. I tried to provide a few different examples for some rooms. Obviously, if there's any issues, anyone in the Discord can help you. I'll link it in the description, as well as the SRC. It can be found by just clicking this button here. It loads up the SRC page as well. There is another guide on there, which is quite old, so I made this one and hopefully showcase some of the new strats and tech there is. Thank you for watching.